Do you have any advice for someone who wants to live a healthier lifestyle? A lot of exercise bores me, but I don't know how to find out which exercises are best for me. I know I definitely don't eat healthily. So, do you have any tips for trying to eat healthier and how to start off? I did just recently make a video about working out, and I do recommend that. It'll be right here. The link will pop up, or the link's down below if you're on mobile. I did start getting very bored of working out, and I wasn't doing working out at all, and I have started to get back into working out, and I found that some is better than absolutely none. In eating healthier, it's not as difficult as it seems. I know on TV they make it seem like you're only going to be eating vegetables and that's it, and you gotta cut out all your meats and you gotta cut out all your breads, and they just make it sound so horrible, and that's not the case. The fact of the matter is there's plenty of very easy ways to eat healthier where you don't even really notice it, just because you simply don't allow yourself to buy the cookies or go out for the fast food. Or even if you are out for the fast food, maybe picking the healthier option that is available. A lot of the times now they put the healthier menu out there and they express what all's in it and how bad it is for you or good it is for you, and that does help a whole lot to be able to pick the healthier option. Or if you don't want to pick the healthier option because they all sound nasty, then just eating a smaller portion, like a much smaller portion than what you normally would. So instead of getting like the big burger, maybe getting the smaller burger, like the value burger or something, and that being all you eat, because you'll still be taking in unhealthy, but you're not taking in as much unhealthy. At first, I thought eating healthier was going to be where I was eating a whole lot of just vegetables and things that just, it's not as tasty. Because I started living with vegetarians, and I myself am not a vegetarian, and I was like, oh great, this isn't gonna be fun for me, because they're gonna make me eat nothing but vegetables, and we're not gonna have any meal that tastes good. And that wasn't the case at all. The thing is, we do substitute a whole lot of things, but they do taste very well if seasoned correctly. That is something that we have definitely learned along the way, is seasoning is everything for making things taste really good. So learning how to pair your spices and herbs on your food actually can help a whole lot in cutting out the salt. It helps reduce the salt levels because it tastes a lot better where you don't feel you need to only be consuming the taste of salt. Also, drinking more water than things that are not as healthy, like sodas, energy drinks, coffee. I'm guilty of drinking way too much coffee, but what I have started doing is if I allow myself to have a soda, then I make myself right afterward drink 2 glasses of water the same size as my soda glass, so that I'm kind of balancing it out and kind of getting rid of it and flushing it out of my system. I still enjoyed it, but it's not going to stay with me longer than my enjoyment of it. My best friend and girlfriend have found that to prevent themselves from just sitting around because working out is boring is they start dancing to YouTube videos. There are plenty of YouTube videos with these very elaborate dance routines, and my girlfriend and best friend will learn them and dance along to them, and that's a lot more fun for them and gets them up and active whenever they probably generally wouldn't, because all other exercising is a little too boring, or it's hard to go outside because of the weather. They can do it inside, they can do it in their bedroom, they just stand in front of the computer and dance. Do you have any tips for dealing with self-harm when you want to quit but you don't feel that you can? This question I would definitely recommend trying to seek professional help. Wanting to quit is a great start though, because that can be your driving force for actually quitting. And this is just friendly advice. This is not at all professional advice by any means. I still do highly recommend seeking professional help. But whenever you feel an urge, instead of just giving into it, recognize that that is what is happening, even if the situation is absolutely awful. Try writing down your feelings rather than doing the other thing. Even if you're writing them down on your phone as if it were a text message in Notepad, or even on your computer or a piece of paper, try writing down your feelings rather than giving in to the urge that you have. That's a lot more beneficial than leaving a permanent mark of any sort, because it also kind of allows you to express what's going on in a healthier manner rather than an unhealthy manner that won't change the situation. Whenever you write it down, it can help you maybe see how to correct the situation and see what needs cut out of your life or change. But I definitely do recommend professional help in this sense, because they'll be able to give you better advice than I can, and also be there as support and encouragement. I was wondering if you could give me advice on how to deal with an oppressive family. I am a bisexual girl living with a Catholic family. Any advice on how to cope? What I have found that turns off a lot of people, like oppressive people, religious people, is the fact that their teenager may start to treat their sexuality as if it's different and not normal. They make it hyped and a very big deal, and that can kind of make the parents very uncomfortable and thinking, well, if it's so normal, why are you making it such a huge elaborate deal than just treating it as if it's just completely normal and how it is? Because they may think that it is a phase, which we both know that's not true, but they may feel that this is a phase because if you're hyping it, that might make them feel a little uncomfortable because you're treating it as if it's not normal, so why should they treat it as if it's normal? And that's just through the eyes, like their eyes, of being oppressive and judgmental of these things, because they don't personally understand how you could be attracted to both or anything like that. Just go about your day to day, getting schoolwork done if you're still in school, doing all that sort of stuff, and then once you're moved out, or if you're already moved out, then just treating it as if it's normal that you got a partner, because it is normal that you got a partner. But also, a lot of parents, especially coming from a religious background, don't want to think about their baby engaging in activities such as sex. Even if you're an adult, which, yeah, once you're a consenting adult, by all means, you're allowed to do those things. But whenever you're a teenager and things, it does concern parents very, very much, because there are risks involved and they don't know what you know if they didn't teach you. They don't know if you understand all that goes into it, and that may concern them. But at this point, just be you. You're normal. Act normal. Be normal. And hopefully, if they see that you're treating it as just a normal everyday thing, then they may be able to just kind of graze into it naturally, rather than having to feel that they're forced into accepting something that they don't understand. They might not even notice if you're treating it as normal. They may not even fully notice that they're starting to just accept it and treat it as it's normal, because they've been eased into it so well. How do you get over losing a friend that you've known nearly all your life? This one actually hits home for me, because I am actually currently trying to figure that out myself completely. In my sense, it was, I lost my childhood best friend, and it was very painful. So I'm going to try to answer this as best as I can while I am still currently trying to figure out the answer to this. We were childhood best friends and very, very close. And then in our teenage years, started to just drift apart till we were pretty much completely apart, with no goodbye, no real explanations or goodbyes or anything like that. And that was very, very painful. And then come my 21st birthday, they actually called on my birthday to kind of express a lot of resentment almost towards me. And it was very confusing. It was very, I didn't understand. I know I was not a great person when I was a kid by any means, and I was working very, very hard to correct that and change that and become a better person, a person that I could be proud of. But because we had drifted away, they only really remembered the person that I was and not the person that I was currently and trying to become. So it was very confusing, and there was still no finalized goodbye of cutting off the friendship. So it left me with a very confused feeling, because I'm a type of person, I do enjoy solid, okay, that was obviously the end of a friendship, and I didn't get that, so it was very confusing. And then a few years later, I tried to open up the line of communication, a simple like, hey, I'm trying to simply understand what is going on, and I got a not so nice goodbye. And it was a very confusing goodbye, because it was a, I no longer wish to speak to you ever again, but that doesn't mean that you have to be out of my life. But that was very obviously confusing, and I'm still very confused by that. But I did choose to kind of, okay, well, I'm not very much understanding what that means of you don't want to communicate with me anymore, but yet I don't have to completely exit your life. It was a very confusing moment, so I decided in that moment of like, you know, we haven't had each other in our lives for quite a while. We've pittered off, that, okay, maybe this is the solid, and I'm going to make the cut and say, alright, this is where the end mark is. And that's more comforting to me, is to know when a beginning and an end is, rather than just leaving things to kind of flitter in the air and wondering, alright, where do we stand? Especially as an adult, which I am now, it's confusing to me to have, okay, is that person actually a part of my life? Is that somebody that I could send a wedding invitation to and they're going to happily receive it? Or is it a waste of time to try to send them that because maybe I have more feelings for them than they have for me anymore? I like finalized goodbyes, and it's very difficult. It hurts very much, and I do feel like I've lost a big chunk of my entire childhood because we were that close as friends. And I'm sorry that you're going through something similar where you're losing a friend that you've known for a long time, because it is that empty feeling of like, okay, well, does that mean it was all for nothing? And what I found over the almost year since our final goodbye sort of thing was I've come to terms with realizing that yes, we still had very good times together, and they weren't for nothing, because they did help me grow and develop as a person. And I can take the lessons that I learned in those times with that person and still use them. They're still credible. They still did help me in my life. And now I just have to learn how to realize that this person that I thought was going to be there forever in my life definitely is not. And that wasn't just a teenage phase of we needed to kind of be separated for whatever reason. Okay, we can't come back like I was hoping, and we can't have an adult relationship rather than a child relationship, because what I had wanted originally, why I opened the line of communication back again, was I was like, okay, well, yeah, we definitely fucked up as children and teenagers, and there's no excusing those things, because and there's no way of fully excusing those things because you can't go back and correct them, but apologies can be made about that, changes have definitely been made in the person. I am no longer that child. Maybe we can rekindle and come back as adults and have an adult friendship rather than very childish friendship. And that wasn't the case. And okay, that hurts, but now I don't have to sit up and wonder of if I have a child one day, can I come to you and show their baby picture? Are you going to be happy? I now have that finalized solid of, okay, you're not going to be a part of my adult life. Fine. And it hurts. It's very painful, but I now know that with that finalized thing, that okay, I can move on and I can have my life without my childhood best friend. I have other friends now, and that's very, very helpful, is the fact that I now have adult friends and we have adult friendships, and I know that I can invite them to my wedding. I know that I can show them pictures of my child. I feel happy and confident that I at least know that I'm allowed to move on. But for you, if you didn't get a final goodbye or anything, that is very sad. But I do hope that you realize that sometimes people just, we change, we move on to different things. Maybe they weren't part of your life plan, and even if that doesn't make sense at the time, hopefully it will in the future. I've just realized that, you know, we all are different. We definitely do change very progressively throughout our lives, and our changes obviously didn't match up. So we can try to now find people that we match up with those changes that we've made. But also, just because you lose a friend doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with you. If they left for a specific reason, maybe trying to figure out if that is something that is wrong of you and correcting what you can. But sometimes it may not be that it's wrong of you, but it's just something that they as a person can't handle in their life, and that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them either. It's just we all can handle things different, and we all have our own ways of dealing with things, and if they can't handle you in your way and it's not wrong of you, you weren't hurting them, you weren't hurting yourself, and they couldn't handle you, then they're not supposed to. And there are people out there who can and are supposed to, and life will get easier because you have those people in your life who can handle that, versus keeping a friend who truly just can't handle you. I think it would hurt worse to have a friend, just kind of keeping a friend that can't handle you, than losing that friend and gaining friends that can. If a fight happened, I am very sorry that you went through that, because fighting as a finalized, especially for somebody that you've known for so long, is a terrible feeling. And maybe in the right amount of time you can come back and make an apology, even if you don't feel that it's all necessarily your fault. Maybe coming back with an apology and apologizing for what you do feel was your fault, maybe that can help, just kind of, even if it doesn't bring friendship back, maybe helping give a less painful closure than a very painful fighting closure. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to everybody who asked questions. I hope that this advice video was helpful. I will try to make more advice videos in the future whenever I receive enough asks. As far as this channel, I've been making a few talk videos here and there, and definitely been publishing a lot of hedgehog videos. So I do hope that you will subscribe, and I thank you very much for watching.